Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Redmen TV and your latest episode of Oppo Preview. My name is Dan Club. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Liverpool fan and Italian football expert, Kev Pogorzelski. Kev, how you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Start of the week. Off to Milan tomorrow, so get Forest out of the way nice and quick.
Yeah, we won't touch upon that. I was thinking literally as I was doing the introduction, then I was like, God, I sound happy. Whereas in reality, deep down, yeah, the prospect of speaking about that game more is lingering like an absolute beast in the future. And I can't do it, to be honest with you. It was grim, properly grim. So instead, we'll focus solely on AC Milan, if that's okay. You're off to Milan, as you mentioned there. That'd be nice. On AC Milan, then, big win at the weekend, but that doesn't really tell the story of their start of the season, does it?
No, it's been quite a woeful start to the season, really. They've only really changed coach. They haven't had any sort of major sort of outgoings because Tammy Abraham, who scored at the weekend, and Alvaro Morata have come in to kind of replace the goals that Olivier Giroud was doing for them, and probably couldn't continue to do at his age. It was probably a win people expected, but not in the fashion that they did it. 4-0 against the side in Venezia, who are so ill equipped to actually sort of cope in Serie A this year. They haven't had a kit manufacturer until a couple of weeks ago. They've decided to go in house, so they really haven't sort of shown any sort of signs that they're gonna do any more than probably stick at the bottom of the table now. But that said, you've got to beat what's in front of you. The Milan fans were protesting about the performances of the three games before that, where they were lucky to get away with a draw in their first game against Torino. Then they lost away to Parma, another newly promoted side that even being away from home, you'd expect them to win. And then they drew with Lazio again. It was a really, really inconsistent performance for them to drag the game back just to sort of salvage a point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a shame about the Venezia situation. I didn't realize that their kits are absolute beautiful things as well in history. So I'm not, yeah, I don't know what's happened there.
Yeah, well, I think we wonder whether they had this very sort of, dare I say, hipstery sort of
Yeah.
following, and I think that allowed them to maybe negotiate some good deals on. So, and maybe they were waiting for that because of the promotion to Serie A, and money across most European leagues outside the Premier League
Mm.
is tight these days, and they just ended up having to go in house.
Shame, shame. You mentioned the new manager there, Kev, Paulo Fonseca, of course. What has he brought to the table, I guess, really? What is his style? What is his approach? Just generally, we'll touch on the Liverpool game in a bit more detail as we go along, but just what is his mantra? What is his philosophy for like? I noticed looking at some of the results and, simpleton terms, you don't expect to see so many goals involved in Italian football, but there's been goals involved. A 4-0 win the weekend, there's been twos along the way as well. It feels like it's quite open.
Yeah, I think partly because of poor defence, which is again something you don't really sort of associate with Italian football. And they've had one of the highest out of the major five leagues. Serie A has had one of the highest goals per game ratios of the last few seasons. I think that does come from a sort of a general lack of quality across the league because other leagues are stealing a lot of the talent. Fonseca, his last spell with Roma wasn't great. I think he's a very pragmatic coach, but then Stefano Pioli was as well at times. He kind of moved to a more 4-3-3 formation at times last season as they were sort of struggling to make the best use of the parts that they had. It looks like Fonseca's gone back to what Pioli liked in a 4-2-3-1, but with two more holding midfielders, if you like, which will be interesting to see if they can cope with a Liverpool press, I suppose, or Premier League press, because Virgil van Dijk will know very well. Oh God, now the name eludes me. Oh, the name of the
Oh,
midfielder.
Reinders.
The Reinders, there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Reinders. God, why did that disappear out of my head? I had
yeah.
Coop Minders in my head for some
Oh,
reason.
he's yeah.
And yeah, so he'll know whether he maybe will be under a bit more pressure if Liverpool to press them. But I think because it's the opening game, I don't think we'll see. We might see a game more like the one at Anfield a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
where both teams want to win, get off to a good start in the Champions League. That might prompt Fonseca to be a little bit more attacking. Whereas the game in Milan last time was, that they didn't have anything to play for. So again, it was quite entertaining game. So I'm hopeful we'll get that, but everything Fonseca has kind of provided historically means that it's probably going to be quite cagey.
Yeah, you touch on those games there. It was 2021-22 season, the 3-2 at Anfield. That was an unexpectedly sort of entertaining affair, really. It wasn't what I was expecting walking into the game, but that's what we got served up, of course. Liverpool made a few changes for that one. I think Joe Gomez started, and he wasn't necessarily starting all the time at that moment. But yeah, it was, I think Jordan Henderson scored, didn't he? We went 2-1 down at
Mm.
one point, I think I'm right in saying. And then, of course, at the San Siro, that was the infamous or famous Nat Phillips turn-in Zlatan
Yeah.
inside-out game, which we'll remember for the rest of our lives. And on the San Siro, and I wrote down in my agenda here, Kev, San Siro factor. Is that a factor at all? Like, I mean, it's one of the historic football stadiums, of course. Like, it's a brilliant place. I'm lucky enough to have been there and watched the game previously myself. And I guess the question here is, for a night like this, opening night of the Champions League, as you touch upon, will it play a part? Will it sort of be this atmospheric thing? This what we've come to expect from a stadium with such history?
It should do. I think Milan have shot themselves in the foot at the moment. You might have seen that they've also been protesting the price
Yes.
increases for this game. Um, and even for the Milan derby, which they've got coming up after this, which is something else that might factor into, if say Liverpool got a lead or Milan got a lead, then they might go ultra defensive just with one eye on the weekend. But with them sort of doubling ticket prices and how much they kind of increase in the prices for the Milan derby, you always attend those games thinking that there's going to be a great atmosphere, and there is probably from the ends, but you never get that. You never get that atmosphere that almost rolls around the stadium on a Champions League night because you've just got a lot of people that are in Milan for the weekend. It's Milan Fashion Week, which is shot up all the hotel costs as well. So there's going to be probably a lot of people that have picked up tickets there that maybe even attending their first game. So I think that's sadly it's probably going to kill the atmosphere to a certain aspect. But the start of the game will be great. There'll be a tifo. There'll be less of the protests from the weekend. But I don't think anybody going for the first time probably isn't gonna maybe experience what they thought they might.
Yeah, perhaps not quite as intimidating for the players as well involved as it could have been in years gone by. Any major injury concerns on the AC Milan front? Are there any key players that are absent for this one? I think I had a quick look. There are a couple of names on there. Is there anybody that stands out when you go, God, they could really do with him?
No, I think they're okay. They're trying to sort of find in their feet at the moment. What they need is Tio Hernandez and Rafa Leao on the left hand side to be able to sort of put pressure down that flank really for Liverpool. Um, the defense is probably where their strong point is. They've only really brought in Pavlovic as the centre half this summer. That was why it was kind of so unexpected that they defensively look so poor in their opening three games this season because they've still got Mike Maignan in goal. Davide Calabria's there, although they brought in Emerson Royale, who, if he plays, that could be a positive for Liverpool because I think he's just on a subpar second choice fullback for Milan. I suppose it'll be interesting to see Yusuf Fofana, who they've signed this summer, add a bit more sort of robustness and steel to the midfield alongside Reinders, not Koopmeiners. But yeah, and their attack, the attack's just so inconsistent. I think they've got most of those available. It'll be interesting to see if Alvaro Morata starts because again, it looks like he's just been coming off of a bit of fatigue from playing in the Euros right up until the final. So they were playing Tammy Abraham at the weekend, who might, having scored a penalty and won a penalty, lead the line. So it'd be interesting to see who they start with.